Listen, so every new Conjuring movie seems to be the last one since the last one was the last one, and especially for the main cast who's been getting like bruised and cut up movie after movie, no wonder they're done.
I don't have the strength to do another one.
Even the people who went to go see this for a date night ended up not even having a ride home. Like, coincidence or not, I walked out of my showing and the weather was at 66. I went home to watch interviews like I always do, and the views were a little too close for comfort. Then I see they were out there trying to charge $6.66 for these screenings. Like $5 Tuesdays don't exist.
It's the devil!
So now they're pitching this as another finale that is part horror movie, but then it keeps stopping to be a drama that's saying farewell to the Warrens.
Yeah, it's a long story.
So it does end up being all over the place, but it's not the worst that the franchise has done until you realize they cut that one out from the movie timeline. It's also not really a goodbye because they have a not-so-secret TV series in the works. And it is ironic that they focus on this being a family drama when there's a lot of drama within the family.
They didn't even believe in demons the first 6 years they were doing this work.
They have pretty much become a brand, which is what I want to break down and add to the last Conjuring video that we did where we covered a lot of their shady practices, because I do think that they're great movie characters. Like, I can separate them. But in real life, these guys are some terrible scammers, to the point that the real Lorraine actually had a list of things that these movies could never talk about, and it turns out it was everything Ed was guilty of.
Excuse me?
But before we get into full spoilers, let's keep the spooky season going with our video sponsor, Claw Lab. See, my girl is the crafty one between the two of us, which is, why she fell in love with an art, but it's so user-friendly that even I can handle it. It's a super accessible tufting kit that helps you create different designs, rugs, and decorations, which is perfect right now that the weather's getting right, but it comes loaded with a lightweight and portable tufting gun, a nail-free design for the frame that's quick and stable, and everything you need to start this new hobby with an easy setup. Not only does it come with a variety of colors so that you can try out different schemes, but it's also super soft and has all the little tools you need to make things simple. It comes in this nice little case that's good for storage and is compact, and what's great about it is that this version has easy vibration so that really anyone can do it in the family. It's got built-in safety features so only your creations stay scary, and it's all designed to last long without you having to do all that extra maintenance. So if you're interested in supporting the channel and wanted to start a new hobby, click the link in the description that YouTube adds at the bottom of the video and get 19% by using our discount.
This is the last one. It's over. It's done. There won't be any more Conjuring.
It's done. It's finito. There's no more.
We're done. Aww, we're done. That's it.
I'm fried, and we did our best, and like we look. I don't know how you top this one. So yeah. I mean, I'm like just a ghost of my former self.
So again, with a full spoiler and a warning for warning's sake, let me explain. So the movie begins with a Warren case, as all of these do, where it's going to come back into the story. But this time around, we see Lorraine is pregnant, making it that case that they hinted at back in the first Conjuring.
But what about your wife?
What about her?
Well, Father Gordon told me that...
Well, that was different.
Very different, because even from the last one, they swapped out the actors who play them young again.
My name is Lorraine Warren. I'm here to help.
To me, it kind of feels like they keep testing out to see which young Warrens are going to make the best actors for the eventual prequel, but it's funny that in 1964 they look like this, and then in just 4 years they'll be our main two from the first movie.
I don't know. I don't have a good feeling about this.
Honestly, they go through more bodies than Annabelle. So this time around, they're dealing with this creepy mirror that gives Lorraine these visions when she touches it, and it even causes her to go into labor early. The messed up part is that besides seeing a man hanging in her flashes, the demons also caused the baby to come out as a stillborn, because she had the cord wrapped around her neck. That now makes the visions that she saw in the first way nastier, considering, she was seeing a hanging person, and they keep adding to that locket that she's had throughout the series.
What's her name?
Judy Warren.
So really, when you look at it, these ghosts are mean pranksters. Like, they'll pull your leg at any point. They'll bruise you, use you, and abuse you.
I was born a demonologist.
Just probably not as much as Edward here. We then jump to 1986 Pennsylvania, where we follow the Smurl family, who just moved into their new house and is beater-packed with about 3 generations. But they really are the horror side of the movie, so instead of jumping around like the film does, I'm going to break down them first and then get into the Warrens family drama, because the opening text hypes this case up as being so bad that it ended them. They straight up retired. So they start getting terrorized after one of their daughters gets gifted that same creepy mirror that we saw from the intro.
I think I was just waiting for us.
So you can kind of say that it was set up for them to get it, especially since they're also playing up on them being Catholic, and it could be dealing with vanity, which is one of the deadly sins.
What? It's a disaster. Dawn was hugging the bathroom all morning. Oh, she was. There was no hot water left, and when I tried to dry my hair, the outlet blew out. I was gonna kill you.
You can't kill her on your confirmation.
It's just funny that, they were so broke, they had to give her something broken. That said, always listen to the dog. Like, not only have they been barking the truth since the start, this good boy's named Simon.
Simon. Come on, Simon. Come on.
Listen to what he says. After having the lights fall down on them during dinner, they keep getting haunted in the basement as John Wayne watches. They flip that iconic clap jump scare from the first, but do it with a telephone line. And then they have to deal with this creepy doll that keeps going around the house. Like, at least Annabelle stayed seated. The girls then decide to blame the mirror and somehow have the strength to throw it out in the middle of the night with absolutely nobody hearing them. But of course that comes back to bite them when one of them starts puking blood. Now, for the record, this mirror does not exist. It's literally just added as a way to connect it to the Warrens, who also did not deal with an evil mirror in this way. They just love being haunted by furniture in this series. Even if you remember the first one, they had him lying, she was the witch, and they were facing a wardrobe, but little did they know that the evil cupboards were next.
You don't believe it's just because it hasn't happened to you.
It's happening to all of us.
Not the same way it's happened to me, Dad.
By this point, the family's fighting every night at dinner with the set lights on set until the dad starts getting haunted. Then they start seeing an axeman walking around taking swings. One of the girls is getting VHS jump scares. That creepy doll keeps being creepy, and the wife tries to wake up her husband, but man's already up.
For me personally, the Smurl case that was depicted in the movie, the early 90s movie, The Haunted, starring Sally Kirkland, was the film that introduced me to the Warrens. And so it just felt full circle for me that we finished this particular franchise with that particular case.
So I decided to go back and give this one a watch since it was so pivotal to one, and it really does have a lot of similar things from the franchise. The opening title scroll, same plot points throughout, kind of making this like a theatrical TV movie remake, and it even has the real Lorraine fainting as a reporter. Always an actress. That said, this one is directed by the guy who did La Llorona, Michael Chaves.
Chaves.
And somehow, he's now directed more Conjuring movies than James Wan himself. And while I don't think he's anywhere near my man, I'm not gonna lie and say he's the worst option, He is competent. Sure, he's always doing the same blatant shots from The Shining that don't even mean anything in the movie, but, WB has that copyright. But I just prefer when he homages styles of the classics instead, like using the same types of lenses from the Poltergeist movies to really play off this haunted house. I really like how he avoided the CG used for the dress scene by putting a two-way mirror in front of the camera in order to hide it. And even in his best scene, in my opinion, it's a callback to all the disgusting vomit scenes from the 70s and 80s, especially when he added those nasty glass sounds. Another interesting reference would also be the Oscar-winning Deer Hunter, especially when it came to the setting, because the backstory to both would be how these steel mill towns were just left to rot. So when you really look at it, you wanted a real explanation. These guys weren't haunted, they were living in the slums. Like, there is literally black mold everywhere, and you see it in every iteration of the story. So, there's no wonder this family was hearing and seeing things.
There's something in the attic.
Yeah. Fungus. At this point, the paparazzi's everywhere. They've got Larry King reporting on them. Grandma's getting pulled down in a stretcher. And what's sad is that in the original and in all the versions, they show you how big of a church-going family they were, who were then just left out in the dust when they actually needed help. They really gave 10% for years and got less than that back. That's why the series priest, Father Gordon, pays a visit without the church even knowing and gives their basement the holy water super soaker treatment, steaming up the demons until it becomes a sauna.
We really thought that the church had forgotten about us.
The church will listen to me. I promise you.
Gordon then goes to the church headquarters to tell them what's up, but clearly things are off since this vacuum's acting like a dirt devil, the secretary who was just there got raptured, and then the phone rings.
Father Gordon?
Judy?
You can go now.
Yeah, once the crosses start burning, that's never a good sign. This is also where they start expanding on the backstory about the axeman who had a farm on this land long ago, and then one day went crazy when he found out that his wife was sleeping around. But I guess according to the lore, they wouldn't have woken them up if it wasn't for the mirror that they brought into the house. What is funny, though, is that the Warrens' grandkid, who actually helped them on this exact case, outed them out for how they come up with these stories for their cases. How they sell books, how they play off figments of the victim's imagination, and kind of shape the demons based off their beliefs.
Once you give a backstory to the belief, you've empowered it even more.
Sometimes what we think of as ghosts or demons
or really the demons in ourselves.
So here's where we start seeing a lot of the big differences as well. Like in some versions, you'll see the wife is the one who's being lifted, but now they have it be the husband, because in reality, it's a lot darker what happened to him. This man was spiritually abused physically.
Holy cow.
Feel it?
Yeah, I do.
Jake, make it go away. Make it stop.
Stop it, you! Just stop it right now!
That's why a lot of the biggest changes for these movies centers around making it more about the Warrens, making up the fact that it was the first demon they ever faced that was in that mirror, and that's why they had to come help this family. So, even in their own line for storytelling, they're to blame for this family getting terrorized. But there's a reason why in the original TV movie they were willing to show what actually happened to the dad and how he was attacked, but not in this new one. And it's because of Ed.
Excuse me?
Now, I'll let y'all look up what demons this man, was hiding in total, but this dude in real life, to keep it short, had a teenage girl named Judith Penny that he kept around, impregnated, and Lorraine knew the whole time. She's even the one who, let's say, exorcised the baby.
Yes, a succubus is a demon who attacks the male physically and sexually. The incubus attacks the female physically and sexually. These are the most horrendous types of attacks.
Which one were you, Ed?
That was a different time.
What's crazy is that they even bought this girl's life rights so that she would never be able to tell her story. But the wildest part, even for the biggest Warren defenders, is that Lorraine herself actually put it in the contract for the movies to never cover the stuff that Ed did. Nothing dealing with minors, nothing dealing with abortions. What else can make you look more guilty? So by this one, you're actually altering what's meant to be these victims' stories, what they went through, because you wanted to censor your husband getting in trouble. The fact that they named their daughter Judy after having a Judith around, man.
Very, very accurate.
So it is this weird thing of them over-controlling their narrative, which, listen, I think Vera and Pat do an incredible job as movie characters. Obviously, the real duo may have skeletons and dolls in their basement closet, but the film versions, they slayed demons together so that they can stay and pray together. Their whole bit is that while everyone doubts them, they never doubted each other.
But what does it parboil down to, that message that, love doesn't just comfort, it erases fear entirely.
So now we jump to the other half of the movie, which shows the Warrens recapping the Annabelle movies in their lectures after quote-unquote retiring. But since the Warrens focused on visiting more colleges than Charlie did, they're just debating kids who don't take them seriously.
So you guys were kind of like the Ghostbusters?
No. Well, we didn't bust ghosts.
We then get to see them at dinner with an older Judy, who's also been recast more times than they have. But no matter what version of their daughter's on screen, this poor girl is traumatized. Yeah, I do the same thing in order to get my order right, minus the creepy hand.
Wish I could have lasagna.
Now, this man has always been funny since the start.
Do you remember what you said to me on our wedding night?
Can we do it again?
But they made him extra goofy for this one.
You ever think about adding fish to your diet?
Yeah, I'm not really a fish guy, Doc.
What about egg whites?
Egg what?
Ed, cut the crap.
Oh, the real horror. Like we saw with the last one, Ed has been going through heart issues but doesn't want to admit it so he doesn't come off like an old man. But in real life, he's not the ripped Aquaman star that we see. In real life, he looked like a Don in a Scorsese movie. I do think it's a great flip though from the first one where it was always Ed who was worried about Lorraine not doing another job.
Whatever Lorraine sees, feels, touches, it helps people, but it also takes a toll on her. Little piece each time.
And now it's on him. Poor guy's now retired and giving tours of his spooky basement during his birthday. We get to see Brad from the first movie barbecuing while showing off his bite. We even get to see a cameo of the real Judy, their daughter, and Tony, her husband, passing on the rights. And of course, with it being a Conjuring movie, Annabelle has to make a cameo.
Annabelle's basically become the mascot character of this franchise. She is...
Right. She's the face, almost, if you will. Yeah.
She's the Mickey Mouse of The Conjuring.
Like I said, there's no wonder that Judy's got PTSD since I took the time to rewatch the series in order to follow Judy's timeline, and this girl has had a front row to this madness, at least in the movies. You see that she's always had to whisper a little whisper to get better, seeing all this propaganda about her parents being phonies, and there's even a point where young Judy got her soul sucked by the devil. Of course they had her walking around with a cross like she's Jesus.
Please don't judge me.
Judy's boyfriend Tony also gets introduced in this one, and he's only been dating her for 6 months, but is already ready to tie the knot. He just doesn't know that he can't say that around them. But this is where the tonal shift happens in the movie, and it just becomes like a borderline comedy.
Tony! You're up.
He ends up playing ping pong with Papa Ed. They eventually bond over fear, and even decides to ask for their permission to get married, which is what every dad's birthday wish would be.
I actually, very early on when we were writing the script, I described it as, it's Father of the Bride with Ghost.
My mom loves you.
What about your dad?
Who's Tony?
Dad, we've been dating for 6 months.
Oh, that Tony.
Of course, sweetheart. We love him.
We do?
I love how the moment Judy sees the ring, Ed looks like he saw a ghost. Oh, the horror. He almost had a heart attack right there.
So I will come back in a month and...
A month?
Funny enough, Father Gordon does visit them right before his demise, and he offers up the cases where people have been asking specifically for them.
So what are we talking about? Are they local or...
Yeah, this man was ready to find a way to pay for that wedding.
I just really want them to approve.
Of what?
Of me taking over the franchise. Not only would he become his son-in-law, but eventually would get the keys to the spooky estate.
It's the infamous Annabelle doll that we spoke about, and that's been depicted in the movie, The Conjuring. I'm going to open the case up. I normally wouldn't do this, but I'm not going to touch the doll. I'm not going to touch it because, as you know, it's very dangerous to touch an object like this.
Yeah, no wonder he lost it to Matt Rife. It's just also funny that they had a whole child in college by this point, so it really is all shifted just so that they can be young enough for a spinoff. We then get the big trailer scene, which is Judy getting choked out by herself in a bridal dress. You can call it pre-wedding jitters, but as the previous movie showed, it is Judy getting Lorraine's special powers handed down to her.
I see things, like how my mom sees things.
That's when we get both storylines connecting as the Warrens go to Father Gordon's funeral, and Judy starts getting visions when she touches the casket, and immediately dips to Pennsylvania.
It's like something wants me to be here.
So run! Again, you get to see the outside of their house. It is not haunted. They're breathing in these fumes. The main Warrens eventually arrive right after, and since the dad's seen the trilogy, he recognizes them right away. And I love how Ed is ready to go because he keeps his stuff in the back of the Mercury trunk.
Every case is different. One thing that's always the same is the fear.
They then set up shop around the mold in his house, and Tony opens up about almost being shot as a cop, and that's why he's retired. And now he's much safer here visiting haunted houses.
It found us.
Now listen, this whole third act is bonkers. They've got jump scares coming out of everywhere. Judy's getting attacked by an AR Annabelle that's growing. The dog's getting chucked once they find the mirror. And one of the craziest parts from the set piece is that not only does the mirror get heavier, but it ends up unwrapping itself when both fathers are trying to take it out, and it scares the Smurl dad, who falls from the attic and breaks his foot.
Focus on what you do. I saw her. She's here. Jack, watch where you're going.
Again, they cut out what he really faced, but now that y'all know, you can see why seeing her would scare this man to death. They then go all out with the budget and have Tyler driving fast and furiously just for a U-turn. There's a whole drone shot like it's a Michael Bay film, and then Judy becomes possessed, giving her pops a heart attack and knocking her own mom into the basement.
We've been waiting so patiently for little Judy to come back to us.
The axeman then haunts Lorraine down there like he works for Universal Horror Nights. Tony's trying to find the dumbest way to get back into the house, and then they find Judy hanging herself in the attic. Clearly that wasn't a clause in the contract. It then gets super goofy as they face off with the mayor like it's Mortal Kombat because they really had a piece of glass whooping their ass. This thing's trying so hard to outdo Oculus 2014 that it breaks Tony's leg and pierces through. Like, for sure this had him second guessing not being a cop.
I'd take a guy with a gun any day.
On top of that, they had Lorraine doing CPR on her daughter while Ed's on her side having a heart attack. He then comes back just to see his Bible burst into flames, which is never a good sign, and Ed really burns his evil reflection in the mirror. I kid you not, they then somehow top all of this when the mirror decides to drop kick Tony. Man, I thought it was gonna put him in a suplex. Lorraine then brings the family together by telling Judy that she shouldn't run away from these things, but face the demons head on for sequels. And she helps push the mirror off since, she's got her mother's eyes, but her daddy's thighs. And to think this family wanted to save money by not going to a motel, no wonder they were stuck there for 3 more years. Now, according to the real telling of the story, they just prayed through it. There wasn't this massive third act blockbuster scene. It was just them leaving to another house.
We were forced to move from the house on Chase Street. The funny thing is, not by demons, but from the never-ending attention.
And even though they're always trying to hype up that they're doing this, for the love of the game, that they just want to put people on, for people to take this seriously, they always make these things be way too over the top for anyone to think it's realistic.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah, I thought the family dinners from The Bear were bad. The movie then wraps with Judy and Tony's wedding as a bunch of the cast from the past makes a cameo, including James Wan right here. They flash to a future of Ed and Lorraine when they become grandparents, when they write another book, and of course eventually create the Conjuring franchise. But now let's get a little bit more into the backstories.
Why don't you just take us back to the beginning?
Like I said, not only were these the type of people who would buy your life rights if, you did something wrong or copyright your videos when you say something they don't want to say, but these are people who learned their lesson early on from the Amityville movies where they realized they didn't have the rights to, the stories they wanted to make up on screen. So the way that they got stiffed ended up being how they stiffed other people.
You're actually both a bit infamous within certain circles of the church.
Yes, we're aware.
Don't mess with the devil, but they won't mess with the trademark. They even had co-writers of other stories that they've done who have called them out for it being a hoax. The lady that I had brought up earlier, Jenny Penn, even came out and said that her real god, Lorraine, her real god is money.
He told me from day one he knew I was a gold digger.
I mean, there's a reason she had to create a fictional mom character to be their babysitter in the first movie. That's saying a lot. And then seeing the Penny Loops Easter egg in here, perfect way to have it be a shout out to Pennywise while having it also be the thing that scared the Warrens the most. Slick shout out.
That bad?
That's why when you see what the grandkid broke down, you're able to kind of examine the entire franchise and see how they create their stories in order to sell books. Because even looking at The Conjuring 2, it's an interesting story where a lot of the examples are out there of these girls making it up just to get attention. And while the news would print that, they made so much more money, selling the scary stories that were lies.
Well, that explains a few things.
Yeah, so does this.
I've got a whole one on The Conjuring 3 and how they jumped on the satanic panic era, even though that's not what it was about. But the creepiest detail in that being that the actual guy who did the murder and, said the devil made me do it, showed up for one scene on set, and it was for the kill. It's wild that they say the purple returned to the scene of the crime, and this man took that to the next level.
The series won't end definitively quite yet. I know there's a TV show on the works. For you, do you think this was kind of like a swan song of like, I've said what I've said, goodbye, I'm gonna move on to other things? Or were you like,
what are you talking about?
What? The TV show.
What TV show? Somebody please let me in on what's going on. What are you talking about?
They announced this TV show like 2 years ago, but we don't know anything
It's no TV show.
How many powdered donuts did you eat when I told you not to get any?
None, for real.
None. Not a single one.
No, not a single one.
Okay.
Yep, great actors. Again, there's no denying that they're good storytellers as well, and I personally think that the Conjurings have gone from great to at least decent horrors, but just like these guys selling this as the final movie, because, technically the next one is a show, the Warrens just know how to tell a tale.
You actually caught things on film? Well, yeah, that's the point.
Man, I would have been shaking like Shaggy and Scoops. That said, I think that their own grandkid puts it best, considering that he was actually there for this case.
Now, the one that's coming out is based on a case I worked on with my grandparents back in '86. I was in my last year of college, and I know for a fact this movie is absolute fantasy. I'm not even going to see it. They've got others. They're trying to build up a new TV series spinoff, and it has no relation to reality. My mom has never had anything to do with the paranormal. Her husband has never had anything to do with it other than lecturing. But they want to, it's Hollywood. They want to keep making money.
So while this is the ending for now, it is a fact that they're already working on a couple of spin-offs. They got the TV series. They even have a couple of prequels. But in the end, the biggest lie that they ever told was that we were supposed to get the Crooked Man movie ages ago.
Was the Crooked Man.
Thank you all for checking out this video. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Let me know which one of these is your favorite, which one you think deserves more spin-offs. Maybe there's another universe, a horror universe that you think deserves more love, because these have been making so much money. The fourth one in the franchise has made a whopping $500 million at the box office. It's insane, you know. Even in our past LME timeline thing that we did, I had called them the Christian Avengers.
The kids aren't baptized.
I understand.
And the family, they're not members of the church.
Oh, come on.
Because they legit split the franchise into like phases, you know. They've got like their own Thanos and Loki. And they've gone full out like Spider-Man with a timeline, because their marketing forgets when Annabelle takes place. They'll say it's 1970 and completely forget that the Warrens picked her up 2 years earlier. So it's getting really big, you know. They're even pulling some buffoonery and saying that La Llorona, get this, is no longer a Conjuring movie, but a movie that takes place in the Conjuring universe.
Excuse me?
I don't know if it's because they're trying to pull like a Tarantino and want to save the big number 10 movie for, you know, whatever the next franchise starter is going to be. But the fact that WB wants to make a prequel movie, a show for HBO, 3 more spin-offs, but they don't want to pay Juan to come back as director, man, that's crazy to me, you know? It has me wondering if that's why they called this movie Last Rites. But you know that for sure, no matter what has happened, even in her grave, Big L's not letting them go.
I'm not going to retire.
I'm not leaving.
I am not going to retire.
I'm not fucking leaving!
The evil is contained.
Other than that, let me know your thoughts on this movie or any others in the franchise or other horror movies that you think we should cover. And as the closing credits put it, your destiny hinges on who you elect to follow. So please comment, like, and subscribe.
I command you with the word of God!